Good morning, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lexi, and today I have my autumn TBR. Instead of making monthly TBRs, which I've tried, and I am I'm really horrible at sticking to monthly TBRs. I thought if I give myself a seasonal TBR where we go, through the actual season, that gives me a solid 3-ish months to go ahead and actually accomplish the books on my TBR. And one of my goals I've made now is I want to read more of my own physically owned books because I own so many that I haven't even opened, touched, whatever, which I did at the beginning of the year, like one of my very first vlogs of 2024 where I went through all the books that I own but haven't even opened, and it's kind of ridiculous. So I went through and I picked out 20 books that are going to be on my autumn TBR that I would hopefully like to accomplish. I separated these a little bit kind of by category here, but the first one set I have is the second half of the Mortal Instruments series, which I have read before, but I am in a reread of the group because we are doing an entire read of the Shadowhunters universe, and we are currently up to the last set here. This was supposed to be September's book, I believe, and then October's and November's. So I'm a little bit behind, actually. It's okay, we're gonna make it through. I'm gonna get all caught up on this one. Like, these should read relatively fast because they are YA, and the font is pretty decently sized in these books. So that's gonna be my goal, to go ahead and get through these in the next few months. And quick overview, if you guys don't know what the Mortal Instruments about, it starts off with the second part of the series going, the Mortal War is over, and Clary Frey is home in New York, excited about all the possibilities before her. She's training to become a shadow hunter, and most importantly of all, she can finally call Jace her boyfriend. But her happiness has come at a price. And I'm not going to go ahead and keep reading all of them now, because it's going to, do a little, I'll read the synopsis for this one, it's going to spoil, this one. But since the Mortal was originally supposed to be a trilogy, and then they extended it out to the next 3 books. Next fantasy I have on my list is a highly popular one. I haven't read it, and Iron Flame. I read Fourth Wing earlier this year and absolutely loved it, but I have yet to go ahead and read Iron Flame, and I would really like to get this one read before the third one in the series comes out in January, which I did pre-order. I think I even got pre-ordered the sprayed edges. I think that was the only option available. I really loved Fourth Wing, and so I would really like to read the sequel to it, and so I can be prepared in January. And let's see. Let's get back here. Everyone expected Violet Sorrengail to die during her first year at Baragath War College, Violet included. But Thrushing was only the first impossible test meant to weed out the weak-willed, the unworthy, and the unlucky. Now the real training begins, and Violet's already wondering how she'll get through. It's not just that it's grueling and maliciously brutal, or even that it's designed to stretch the writer's capacity for pain beyond endurance. It's the new vice commandant who's made it his personal mission to teach Violet exactly how powerless she is unless she betrays the man she loves. Although Violet's body might be weaker and frailer than everyone else's, she still has her wits and a will of iron. And leadership is forgetting the most important lesson Baragath has taught her. Dragon riders make their own rules. But a determination to survive won't be enough this year. Because Violet knows the real secret hidden for centuries at Baragath War College, and nothing, not even Dragonfire, may be enough to save them in the end. So, really looking forward to this. I'm predicting that this is going to be a 5-star. I heard this one isn't the best in the series. It doesn't live up to quite the hype as the first one does, but I have high hopes for this one yet because I really love dragons and fantasy, so I think this is the perfect book for me. Next, I have some thrillers that are on my TBR. It's going to be spooky season here, so I do have some thrillers. Some of these have made quite a few appearances on my monthly TBRs and have yet to be read, so hopefully I can get through them in this a little bit longer of a TBR for me. But I have a few Lisa Jewell books here. I have The Family Upstairs. I've heard a lot of good things about this one, so I'm kind of looking forward to it. I've only read one other Lisa Jewell and really loved it, but I've been told that one is her best one, so that the other ones might not live up to it. However, I'm still hopeful for this one. Soon after her birthday, Libby Jones returns home from work to find the letter she has been waiting for 25 years. She rips it open with one driving thought: I am finally going to know who I am. She learns not only the identity of her birth parents, but also that she is the sole inheritor of their abandoned mansion on the banks of the Thames. Everything in Libby's life is about to change, but what she can't possibly know is that others have been waiting for this day as well. and she is on a collision course to meet them. Looking forward to this one. I've heard a lot of good things about it, and I do really like this cover. Hopefully we can get this to fit in for something. Next one I have from Lisa Jewell is Watching You. I got this one at a used book sale about 2 years ago, and honestly, the cover just caught me. I was like, ooh, that sounds very mysterious, stalkery, and that sounds like it'd be a good read for spooky season. Someone Knows What You Did. Melville Heights is one of the nicest neighborhoods in Bristol, England. It's not usually the sort of place where people are murdered in their own kitchens, but it is the sort of place where everyone has a secret and prying eyes lurk behind every curtain. So who has been murdered and who would have wanted one of their neighbors dead? So, interesting. I kind of like this vibe for spooky season. I feel like this is going to be a good October read for me. The last Lisa Jewell I have on this list is Then She Was Gone. I picked this one up solely because of the cover. I think this is like a beautiful cover for it. Very mysterious. So let's get into this one. No one ever just disappears. Ellie Mack was the perfect daughter, and then she was gone. 10 years after Ellie's disappearance, her mother, Laurel Mack, is trying to put her life back together when she meets an unexpectedly charming man in a cafe. Before she knows it, she's meeting Floyd's daughters, and his youngest, Poppy, takes Laurel's breath away. Because the eerily precocious Poppy is a spitting image of Ellie, and now the unanswered questions she's tried so hard to put to rest begin haunting Laurel anew. Where did Ellie go? Did she run away from home as the police have long suspected, or did something more sinister happen? And as I'm saying the name Ellie, this one down here keeps opening her eyes, because Ellie is technically here with us today during this video. She's just down here, aren't you? See, I just all the way down here, and here, we'll show you in your collar. Can you show everyone your collar? I'll put it back on you, don't worry. Ellie has her little festive collar on here now for the season. Her little festive Halloween. My little Halloween bean. But yes, I'm very excited to get through those Lisa Jewells, so we'll see. I think the plan is that I'm going to have a whole video on Lisa Jewells, because I really, haven't read, like I said, I've only read one before, so I really don't know if Lisa Jewells is the author for me, if she's like a thriller author that I'm really going to enjoy. Razorblade Tears. I got this from Book of the Month as one of their finalists, I believe, back in 2021, as the back of the book tells me. So it doesn't count for any of my Book of the Month challenges, but I would really like to get this one done. I do like the cover. I kind of picked it out based off the cover here. I like the ombre effect it has on it, and this one kind of intrigues me when I do read the synopsis. A black father, a white father, 2 dead sons, a quest for revenge and redemption. Ike Randolph has been out of jail for 15 years with not so much as a speeding ticket in all that time. But a black man with cops at the door knows to be afraid. The last thing he expects to hear is that his son Isaiah has been murdered along with Isaiah's white husband Derek. Ike has never fully accepted his son, but is devastated by his loss. Derek's father, Buddy Lee, was almost as ashamed of Derek for being gay as Derek was ashamed for his father's criminal record. Buddy Lee still has contacts in the underworld, though, and he wants to know who killed his boy. Ike and Buddy Lee, 2 ex-cons with little in common other than a criminal past and a love for their dead sons, band together in their desperate desire for revenge. In their quest to do better for their sons in death than they did in life, these hardened men will confront their own prejudices about their sons and each other as they rain down vengeance upon those who hurt their boys. That just sounds very intriguing. It kind of mentions the underworld, like mafia type stuff. I do like mafia romance, so while this one doesn't have being a romance, I would like to read a little bit more of that hardened criminal stuff that doesn't really catch my attention, and I find that is a very entertaining part of a novel. Next on this list, I have 4 books here that I would like to go ahead and start a new series on my channel. I've talked about this series before. It's a very lengthy series. We're currently up to book 34, which just released this week, I believe. It's either 34 or 35 released this week. And I've decided a while back that I am going to map out this town's entire timeline, how everything connects, and report on it for you guys. So that series is the Haunting Danielle series. I have books 1 through 4 here. The first one is The Ghost of Marlowe House, The Ghost Who Loved Diamonds, The Ghost Who Wasn't, and The Ghost Who Wanted Revenge. And this is like a cozy little mystery series, so I know it's going to fit for some prompts for my own readathon. And so I thought I would go ahead and read it. I'll read you the synopsis here of the first book. When Danielle Boatman inherits Marlowe House, she dreams of turning it into a seaside bed and breakfast. Since she's never visited the property, Danielle's not sure what awaits for her in Oregon. She certainly doesn't expect to find one of the house's previous owners still in residence. After all, the man has been dead for almost 90 years. Shouldn't he have moved on by now? Charming Walt Marlowe convinces Danielle the only way he can move on is if she solves the mystery of his death. Danielle soon discovers her real problems may come from the living, those who have their sights on Marlowe House's other secrets. So that's what caught my attention way back when I first started this series, and I have read all the way up to book 32 personally, but At this point, the timeline is getting so muddled and so confused. So I thought, I'm going to map out everything and how everyone's connected. And honestly, I don't know how the FBI isn't constantly knocking on everybody's door, because there's like how many murders in this little seaside town at this point, but you know. So on my list is those first 4 books, so that the first video will be over the first 4 books to kind of map out the timeline. I think 4 books is plenty for one video, because honestly, like I said, book 34 or 35 just released and we're still writing more, and I'm heavily invested in these characters' lives at this point. Next one I have on here is a little bit of a historical book, which is the London Science Society. I got this from March in 2023. I read The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner and really loved it, so when this book became available on Book of the Month back in March of last year, I just had to pick it up. However, I have not physically picked it up, but I do think Sarah Penner has beautiful covers. I love the floral designs on both of these books. But we'll get into this one. Amid the shrouded parlors of Victorian London, 2 daring women hunt for truth and justice in the perilous art of conjuring the dead. 1873. At an abandoned chateau on the outskirts of Paris, a dark seance is about to take place, led by acclaimed spiritualist Claudine Delaire, known worldwide for her talents in conjuring the spirits of murder victims to ascertain their identities of the people who killed them. She is highly sought after by widows and investigators alike. Lena Wilkes has come to Paris to find answers about her sister's death, but to do so, she must embrace the unknown and overcome her own logic-driven bias against the occult. When Vaudine is beckoned to England to solve a high-profile murder, Lena accompanies her as an understudy. But as the women team up with the powerful men of London's exclusive seance society to solve the mystery, they begin to suspect that they are not merely out to solve a crime, perhaps entangled in one themselves. I haven't read too many historicals, but I'm really looking forward to this one because I really loved The Lost Apothecary, and that one had a dual timeline. I'm not sure about this one. This one doesn't sound like it's too much of a dual timeline, which is completely fine because I would like to get more into some historical books. I like historical books that I've read. I just don't read too many of them personally, so I would really love to get into some more of them. The next one I have on here is the Hacienda, and this is a Book of the Month copy. However, I did not get this from Book of the Month. I found this at a used book sale last year and just picked it up because I've heard a lot of great things about the Hacienda. This one is more of a horror one, I would say. Again, perfect for spooky season, and I know it fits a prompt for one of my own prompts for the readathon I'm co-hosting. So in this one, during the overthrow of the Mexican government, Beatrice's father was executed and her home destroyed. When handsome Don Rafaldo Soranzo proposes, Beatrice ignores the rumors surrounding his first wife's sudden demise, choosing instead to seize the security that his estate in the countryside provides. She will have her own home again, no matter the cost. But Hacienda San Isidro is not the sanctuary she imagined. When Rafaldo returns to the work in the capital, visions and the voices evade Beatrice's sleep. The weight of invisible eyes follow her every move. Rafaldo's sister, Juana, scoffs at Beatrice's fears, but why does she refuse to enter the house at night? Why does the cook burn copal incense at the edge of the kitchen and mark the doorway with strange symbols? What really happened to the first Donna Soranzo? Beatrice only knows 2 things for certain. Something is wrong with the Hacienda, and no one there will save her. Desperate for help, she clings to the youngest priest, Padre Andres, as an ally. No ordinary priest, Andres will have to rely on his skill as a witch to battle the malevolent presence haunting the Hacienda. Very intriguing. Kind of excited to see where this one is going to go. But there we go. I figured we had to have at least one horror book for fall. Like, you can't not do that, right? Next, I have some romances here I would like to read. I have one here from Book of the Month that I got in April of this year, which is How to End a Love Story. I really thought this cover was beautiful, and the synopsis really caught my attention on this one, which is Helen Zhang hasn't seen Great Shepherd once in the 13 years since the tragic accidents that bound their lives together forever. Now a best-selling author, Helen pours everything into her career. She's even scored a coveted spot in the writer's room of the TV adaptation of her young adult novels. And if she can hide her imposter syndrome, surely the rest of her life will fall into place too. LA is the fresh start she needs after no one knows her there, except Grant has done everything in his power to move on from the past, including building a life across the country. And while the panic attacks have never quite gone away, he's well liked around the town as a screenwriter. He knows he shouldn't have taken the job on Helen's show, but it won't open the doors to developing his own projects that he just can't pass up. Grant's exactly as Helen remembers him, charming, popular, and lovable in ways that she's never been. And Helen's exactly as Grant remembers too. Brilliant, beautiful, closed off. But working together is messy and electrifying, and Helen's parents, who have never forgiven Grant, have no idea he's in the picture at all. When secrets come to light, they must reckon with the fact that theirs was never meant to be any kind of love story. And yet, The key to making peace with their past and themselves might just lie in holding each other in the present. So that one really caught my attention. I feel like this is going to be a nice like little palette cleanser, especially after I have some heavier books in this list. And so I thought this would be a nice little palette cleanser. And I really do like the pink cover. I don't have too many books that have a pink cover. So that's what really caught my attention when this was on Book of the Month. Then I have The Kiss Curse, which I feel like is going to be perfect for October. And I read the XX earlier this year, loved it, so I thought, why not go ahead and read The Kiss Curse? I believe book 3 in the series is coming out in October. I think I would have to double check that personally, but I really did enjoy the first one. Gwen Jones is perfectly happy with her life in Gravesend. She, her mom, and her cousin have formed a new and powerful coven. She's running a successful witchcraft shop, Something Wicked, and she's starting mentoring some of the younger witches in town. As Halloween approaches, there's only one problem. When Wells Penhallow. Wells has come to Gravesend to reestablish his family's connection to the town they founded and to make a new life for himself after years of being the dutiful son in Wales. When he opens a shop of his own, Penhallow, just across the street from Something Wicked, he quickly learns he's gotten more than he bargained for in going up against Gwen. When their professional competition leads to a very personal and very hot kiss, both Wells and Gwen are determined to stay away from each other, convinced the kiss was just a magical fluke. But when a mysterious new coven of witches comes to town and Gwen's powers begin fading, she and Wells must work together to find out just what these new witches want and how to restore Gwen's magic before it's too late. So, like I said, I really enjoyed the first one in the series. I had a blast reading it, so I'm really excited. Next on this list, I have Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, which I picked up because of the cover. This was also a Book of the Month finalist back in 2022. And honestly, I was supposed to buddy read this last year in 2023 with some people, and I literally just never picked up the book. So we should probably, read that at some point. On a bitter cold day in the December of his junior year at Harvard, Sam Mulder exits a subway car and sees amid the hordes of people waiting on the platform Sadie Green. He calls her name. For a moment, she pretends she hasn't heard him, but she turns and a game begins, a legendary collaboration that will launch them into stardom. These friends, intimate since childhood, borrow money, beg favors, and even graduating college, but they have created their own first blockbuster in Chicago. I guess that's how you say that. Overnight, the world is theirs. Not even 25 years old, Sam and Sadie are brilliant, successful, and rich, but these qualities won't protect them from their own secretive ambitions or the betrayals of their hearts. Spanning 30 years from Cambridge, Massachusetts to Venice Beach, California, and lands in between and far beyond. Gabrielle Zevin's Tomorrow, Tomorrow, and Tomorrow is a dazzling and intricately imagined novel that examines the multifaceted nature of identity, disability, failure, the redemptive possibilities in play, and above all, our need to connect, to be loved, and to love. Yet it is a love story, but it is not one like you've read before. So that's kind of what caught my attention with this one. Again, it was a finalist on Book of the Month, so when this one came up again, after it was already up for one, I was like, you know what, I should really give this one a shot, and I do like the artistic design on the cover. These last two on this list are probably honestly the densest ones I have on this list, and probably a little bit shocking for some people that this is on my list, but since November is in fall, I do have two books picked out for nonfiction November, and the first one is The World's Worst Serial Killers, and this one covers quite a few different serial killers. The print is fairly large. It's not as floppy as some other ones, but I found this on the bargain shelf, and I was like, I might as well, because I do like true crime. I like to watch true crime videos, so why not? Serial killers are the most terrifying criminals out there. They find themselves driven to kill and kill again, and no amount of reason or logic can stop their orgy of violence. Many masquerade as ordinary members of society. The body counts continue to rise until their shocking crimes are uncovered by dog detective work or through their own mistakes. This collection features more than 60 of the most evil serial killers from across the globe, including John Wayne Gacy, who worked part-time as a clown for children's birthday parties, while in secret took home teenage boys to abuse and kill, Ted Bundy, who charmed women into returning home with him before revealing his true self, Charles Manson, who led a cult of death and destruction in Los Angeles, Tamara Samazova, the Granny Ripper, who chopped up her victims and dumped them outside her flat, and Daniel Carmelo Barbosa, the most prolific serial killer of all time with more than 150 victims. So that one, and then I also have, I got at the same time, Serial Killers and Psychopaths, True Life Cases That Shock the World, and, lovely people they picked for the covers here. Serial Killers and Psychopaths provides a concise yet detailed look at how the most dangerous individuals who have ever lived present a carefully chosen cross-section of history's most infamous criminals whose fascinating lives and stories are viewed with an unflinching gaze, making a chilling but engrossing read. So I thought, another one, here we go, for nonfiction November, pretty much. But that is 20 books that are on my physical TBR for fall here, and we're gonna hope I get through them all. I will do a recap before my winter TBR to see how well we did. See you next time. Bye.